Most murderers work alone, but some work as teams. But the most common example of teamwork in murder cases will be in trying to get assistance in covering up a crime. But who to get to help you in your hour of homicidal need? Your best friend? That dodgy cousin? The weird uncle who tried to touch you at that family wedding? But today's case features a nasty bastard who tries and succeeds to recruit an accomplice, with this accomplice being paradoxically the most likely and the least likely choice for a partner in crime. This is the case of the tragic murder of Kerry Woolley, and this is Murder of Crows.
Say that you're ready, but you won't like it. You say that you're ready, but you won't like it. Silence all the crows, lining up in little rows. A sudden chill surrounds me. Silence all the crows, see come out and say you're old. A sudden chill.
In true crime, we are all too familiar with the profile of the nasty bastard, by which I of course mean the controlling, aggressive, paranoid, arrogant cockwombles that seem to think a successful relationship is having your significant other under your total control, like a combination of a puppet and a sex doll. These men, as they are usually of the male persuasion, are usually painfully insecure, but rather than work on themselves, it is easier to find a poor victim who can be molded and controlled to make the perpetrator feel better or bless their. So let's start our tale by looking at the life of a lady called Kerry Woolley. In 2020, Kerry was living in Solihull, a region in the West Midlands of the UK. She was 38 and she was gorgeous. She had 2 children, aged 13 and 9. They lived in a flat in the Alton area of Solihull. Like many people of her age struggling with single parenting, she longed for a loving partner that she could lean on for emotional support. And she thought that she was on the verge of finding it. The 38-year-old single mother had recently met Ian Bennett in May of 2020. And despite the misery of the corona bollocks pandemic, their relationship had seemed to move very fast. Here's red flag number 1, folks: love bombing. The two had been in school together, a school year apart, and Bennett had sent Kerry a message via Facebook, and from there the two began dating. By July of 2020, Bennett was staying at the flat with increasing regularity. Red flag number 2, folks, for those keeping count, becoming an ever-present part of their life very quickly. Also by July, Bennett was starting to show his insecure and jealous side, despite the relationship only being a few weeks old by this point. After the couple had spent the evening at a wine bar, Bennett ended up in a row with Kerry after he accused her of cheating on him with a woman they had met at the wine bar. Sounds perfectly rational to me. I don't know what you're on about. The row continued back at the flat, and Bennett threw her phone at the TV. Also very rational. So when a call was received at the police switchboard on July the 12th, 2020, where a man reported finding his girlfriend viciously attacked and covered in blood, even at that early stage, the police were less than convinced by the man's presentation outside the flat.
Sorry, sir. When was the last time you saw her?
1 o'clock, I left hers this morning.
Here?
Yeah, we was having a few drinks. I left here at 1. My mum and dad had a big argument at home, so I went home last night to make sure everything was alright there.
Okay.
And then I've been trying to ring her and text her all day, no answers. So I just thought I'd knock on, and the door wasn't open. I had to pull the handle.
Yeah.
And then I walked into that. I found a bit. So, Mum was sick on a bit. Please, ambulance.
Gotta be all the way down.
No problem.
Hold on. What do you stores are on?
Yeah. Okay, no problem. But,
There's another door in there.
Darling, I know that's a stupid question at the
And
moment.
I've got to find out there's a way out.
Hi Ian, you're right. So you've got to listen to what I'm about to say to you, it's quite important. So the time is 4:40. You can be under arrest for murder at this time, okay? You didn't act murder. It's a suspicion at the moment, okay, based on obviously what's happened here. So you didn't have to say anything that may harm your defence. Do not mention when questioned something which would outline important that you do say ever given in evidence, okay?
Tom. Oh, you're Ian's mum. Oh, yeah, nice to meet you.
Where are you going? So at the moment we'll be going to custody. I don't know which custody, I'll let you know.
The crocodile tears and feigned concern and grief did not put off the police. There's a reason that the police always look at the significant other first, because probability says that it was most likely them. Inside the flat, the 38-year-old was found, and she had sustained 54 sharp force injuries, mainly to her neck. And there were also signs that she had been smothered and strangled. But in doing their due diligence, the police put out an appeal for any camera footage from anywhere in the area. And they also dug into Ian Bennett's life. And they found that the 38-year-old Bennett lived with his 62-year-old mother Linda Bennett on Moordown Avenue in Solihull. And it seemed that Bennett would treat his mother as a glorified taxi service, perhaps giving an indication of how he treated the women in his life. It was Kerry's sister Lisa Woolley that gave a chilling insight into the state of her sister's relationship with Bennett in the lead up to the death of Kerry. Lisa liked her sister's new partner at first, but said that he became possessive and sent paranoid messages to her about Kerry before Kerry was killed. Lisa says that Kerry was her best friend and that the pair were inseparable. Lisa and Kerry both worked at insurance companies and they lived around the corner from each other in Solihull. And they were incredibly close, with Lisa saying, "Kerry and I loved to cozy up on the sofa with a takeaway and a glass of wine while our partners were out." Kerry was a mum to 2 children, who she had with her childhood sweetheart. We had family barbecues on the weekends. In the week, Kerry worked incredibly hard, juggling long shifts, 2 kids and her home life. But after 20 years together, Kerry and her long-term partner split in 2017. Kerry moved into her own flat and they shared custody of their children. Lisa said of that time, "As her sister, I could tell she was lonely." Then one day, 3 years after the breakup, Kerry told me she'd met someone, a guy from school. She said his name was Ian and that he was in the year below her. As I was in the year above Kerry, I scanned my brain, but could not remember him. Ian had messaged her on Facebook out of the blue, and they'd then been out on a few dates. Kerry seemed to like him, so I was really happy for her. Just weeks later, in June of 2020, Ian added Lisa on Facebook to introduce himself and chat about Kerry. She says, "I would check in on Kerry and he'd always reply quickly. He was very sweet that way. But after a few weeks, he started acting jealous. He once asked me why she was in contact with a past boyfriend. Another time he asked me if she'd ever slept with one of her male friends. Alarm bells rang in my head, and I wondered if he was being possessive. But whenever I spoke to Kerry, she seemed so happy. So I decided not to think anything of it." Then days later, I got a call from Ian in the middle of the night. He was slurring and sounded very intoxicated. He said Kerry had cheated on him with a woman. That night in July of 2020, the couple had gone to a wine bar earlier that evening. They'd met a friendly couple and went back to their flat. While Ian and the woman's partner popped to the garage, Kerry had become very warm and so took her jumper off. Seeing her in a tank top on his return, Ian accused her of sleeping with the other woman. He threw a remote at Kerry's TV and smashed it. Of this, Lisa said, "It was really confusing. I told Ian that Kerry wasn't bisexual. I said go home and sleep it off. It was clearly a silly, drunken tiff. The next day, Kerry called me and she was laughing with Ian, saying that they were fine. Ian said in the background that he was sorry for being stupid and that he would replace Kerry's TV. Lisa said, "I was glad they had sorted things. I chatted with Kerry for a bit and said my goodbyes." Later that night, Lisa saw Kerry had posted a photo of her and Ian smiling together onto social media. The next morning, Ian texted Lisa asking, "Have you spoken to Kerry today? We had a row because I went home early last night." And this, of course, was the start of Ian Bennett playing the part of the concerned boyfriend. But now that the police had more of an insight into Bennett's recent behaviour, they wanted to physically look at his life, including the home he shared with his mother and the car his mother would drive him around in. Something like a reverse driving Miss Daisy, I would imagine. But it was this latter that would prove key in working out what had happened. Once they accessed the car, the police took the information that was stored on Linda Bennett's dashcam. And it indicated a chilling road trip that she had taken her son on as he went about disposing of evidence of what he had done to Kerry Woolley. I think the appropriate phrase here would be hoist by his own petard, or otherwise a poetic justice, as Bennett was undone by his own, or rather his mother's, technology. This cockwomble and the mother who loved her son so much she would do anything for him were both screwed by their own actions, or rather their lack of them in not turning off the dashcam. Detectives found footage of him throwing at least one of the two knives that he used into a canal in Solihull. Ian Bennett was driven to a canal bridge by his mother early on July the 12th, 2020, shortly after he had brutally killed Kerry. Later that afternoon, the 38-year-old then called 999, telling police officers that he had found the mother of two with catastrophic wounds to her neck at her flat in Warwick Road. Although initially no weapon could be located, Ian Bennett was arrested on suspicion of murder. Officers analysed text messages between him and Kerry, who had only met him a few weeks before, and these messages suggested that there had been a falling out a couple of days earlier. Bennett appeared to be angry, accusing Kerry of cheating on him, although this was completely groundless, and that she was apparently also messaging a former partner. He even went so far as to research online the best way to get revenge on a woman. Good stuff, Ian, good stuff. The trial of Ian Bennett for murder, which was also the trial of his mother Linda for assisting an offender and perverting the course of justice, took place at Birmingham Crown Court in December 2021. After a 16-day trial, the jury, rather unsurprisingly, found him guilty. In a victim impact statement read to the court, Kerry's family described her as a beautiful, bubbly lady who had a heart of gold, adding that it was unbearable to think that she will not get to see her children grow up. In passing sentence, Judge Melbourne Inman QC said neither of the Bennetts had shown any remorse for the savage murder. He described their efforts to conceal the crime as calm and calculated, and said to Ian Bennett, "You are an extremely dangerous man." An experienced pathologist said in his evidence that it was one of the most horrific murders he had seen. In the absence of any explanation whatsoever from you, I am quite sure that there was a degree of premeditation in your decision to kill her that night. Ian Bennett, the sentence is life imprisonment. You will serve a minimum term of 25 years. Speaking to the killer's mother, he said, "You, Linda Bennett, made determined efforts to assist your son. The actions you took had a profound effect on the administration of justice. You washed his clothing. Your actions were taken in the middle of the night and the following morning, and later in the day when lying to the police. It was mere good fortune that your car had CCTV, which revealed what you had done. It is clear you have no remorse whatsoever. I accept you had misguided but genuine love for your son. You are a mature woman who has never been in trouble before." He jailed Linda Bennett for 3 years. Detective Sergeant Rory Juss said, "Ian Bennett unleashed a vicious and brutal attack on Kerry Woolley. a woman he had only been in a relationship with for a matter of a few short weeks. He then chose to blatantly lie about what had happened, but quickly became unstuck as the evidence mounted up against him. The most poignant tributes that can be paid to Kerry Woolley are drawn from the victim impact statement that I touched upon earlier. In a heartbreaking statement, Kerry's 14-year-old and 10-year-old children said, "Although she is no longer with us, she will always be with us in spirit." They said that family events such as gatherings and holidays would not ever be the same, as well as all those opportunities to say "I love you" have gone. They also said she always made us laugh, and we always knew we were loved. They added, "Mother's Day this year was the first time we did not send or make a card. It was a very difficult day for us to get through. You left us beautiful memories. Your love is still our guide. Although we can't see you, we know you will always be by our side." Kerry's mum Lynn also made an impact statement in which she said, "No parent should have to live with the image of their child lying in the mortuary. She was bubbly, had a heart of gold, and had so much to live for. Her death has left a massive hole in our lives." Kerry struggled with alcohol. She was our daughter who we loved and who we always tried to support. Her death has left a massive hole which can never be filled. His, referring to Ian Bennett, his barbaric actions towards our daughter are beyond comprehension. Kerry Woolley was clearly very loving and very loved. Her death leaves a huge void, especially in the lives of her children. As with most of the cases I cover, this murder was senseless, and in this case was carried out by an insecure cockwomble who thought he had the right to treat people however he wanted. While the police showed him that he was wrong, that does not bring Kerry Woolley back to the people that loved her. This video is of course dedicated to her, and I hope her family are finding ways to deal with this devastating loss. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. I'm Steve. This desperately soppy cat is Samson. And we will see you when we see you.